Good morning, students. Today's topic is polyclonal and monoclonal antibodies. Polyclonal means it stands for a mixture of antibodies. Polyclonal antibodies, they represent a mixture of antibodies made by many different B lymphocytes or B cell clones. While studying about antigen and its structure, we have come across the structure of antigen containing epitopes on the surface of the antigen. These epitopes are also known as antigenic determinants, and these determinants induce proliferation and differentiation of variety of B cell clones, each derived from a B cell that recognizes a particular epitope. The resulting polyclonal antibody in the antisera are heterogeneous, comprising a mixture of antibodies, each specific for one epitope. In the picture, we can see an antigen with four different epitopes, epitope 1, 2, 3, and 4. When this antigen is induced into an organism or enters an organism, it induces antibody proliferation, resulting in production of antibody 1, antibody 2, antibody 3, and antibody 4, respectively. This mixture is known as polyclonal antibodies, and this is how these antibodies bind to the respective epitopes. The polyclonal antibodies show clear advantages for the organism in vivo as they facilitate the localization, phagocytosis, and complement mediated lysis of the antigen. Since the polyclonal antibodies react with multiple epitopes on the surface of the antigen, they will be more tolerant to minor changes in the antigen. Changes which may occur in the antigen are polymorphism, heterogeneity of the glycosylation, or slight denaturation can be overcome by these polyclonal antibodies. Depending upon the antigen that is used to create the antibody, one may use polyclonal antibodies to identify proteins of high homology to the immunogen protein or to screen for the target protein in tissue samples from species other than that of the immunogen. Along these small same lines, it is especially important when working with polyclonal antibodies to educate oneself about the immunogen that has been used for the production of the polyclonal antibodies and the potential for desired cross reactivity within one sample. Peptide immunogens are often used to generate polyclonal antibodies that target unique epitopes, especially for protein families of high homology. Homology stands for similarity in their structure. So, proteins with similar structure, peptide immunogens are often used for generating a polyclonal antibodies. Some useful properties of polyclonal antibodies are they often recognize multiple epitopes, making them more tolerant of small changes in the nature of the antigen. So, this is very, very important and advantageous to an organism while protecting one itself from antigens. These polyclonal antibodies can recognize multiple epitopes, making them more tolerant of small changes in the nature of the antigen. They are often the preferred choice for detection of denatured proteins. These polyclonal antibodies may be generated in a variety of species like sheep, goat, rabbit, donkey, chicken, etc., providing the user may opt in experimental designs. Like same type of antibodies can be produced from different organisms like sheep, goat, rabbit, donkey, chicken, etc. The next important property of polyclonal antibodies are they are sometimes used when the nature of the antigen in an untested species is not known. They target multiple epitopes, so they generally provide more robust detection. So it is very useful for detection of unknown species, antigens of unknown species by using this polyclonal antibodies. Polyclonal antibodies are often available in serum or antiserum that refers to the blood from an immunized host from which the clotting proteins and RBCs have been removed. The antiserum and its name suggest still uh, possess antibodies or immunoglobulins of all classes as well as other serum proteins. In addition to antibodies that recognize the target antigen, the antiserum also contain antibodies of various non-target antigens that can sometimes react non-specifically in immunological arrays. For this reason, raw antiserum is often purified to eliminate serum proteins to enrich the fraction of antibodies that react with the target antigen. Let us see a comparison between polyclonal and monoclonal antibodies. Polyclonal antibodies consist of variety of antibodies recognizing many epitopes on an antigen, while monoclonal antibodies consist of single type of antibody recognizing only a single epitope on an antigen. Hence, they are known as monoclonal. Poly means many, mono means single. Polyclonal antibodies contain different classes of antibodies like IgG, IgM, and so on. Monoclonal antibodies contain a single class of antibodies. Clonal antibodies can make a specific antibody using only a highly purified antigen, whereas monoclonal can make a specific antibody using an impure antigen. So that makes a difference between polyclonal antibody and monoclonal antibody. In polyclonal antibody, it requires purified antigen to produce a specific antibody, whereas in monoclonal antibody, even impure antigen can produce a specific antibody. Polyclonal antibodies reproducibility and standardization is difficult because it is a mixture, whereas monoclonal antibodies they are highly reproducible. So this is the basic difference between polyclonal antibody and monoclonal antibodies. Next, moving on to monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies are the antibodies of a single type produced by a population of genetically identical B lymphocytes or plasma cells. Such population of genetically identical B cell is called a single clone, hence the name monoclonal given to the antibodies produced by the population. The technology used in production, the methods of commercial production and applications of the monoclonal antibodies are as follows. So, the technology used for the production of monoclonal antibodies is known as hybridoma technology. This technology uh, undergoes in the following steps: making a hybridoma, fusion of lymphocytes with myeloma lymphocytes, selection of hybridoma cells, and isolation of MABs. It is not Mars, it is MABs producing hybridoma technology. MAB means monoclonal antibodies. So let us begin with this hybridoma technology. To overcome, it is used to overcome the limitations of antiserum. A need of new technology was long felt by the immunologist, and the dream was realized during the recent past with the help of somatic hybridization, which is also known as animal cell fusion. Two brilliant immunologists, German born G.F. Kohler and C. Milstein of Argentina developed a new technology named hybridoma technology in 1975. So, who are the scientists who have invented this particular hybridoma technology? German born G.F. Kohler and C. Milstein of Argentina in 1975, which later earned the Nobel Prize for them in medicine. Kohler and Milstein demonstrated that somatic hybridization technique can be used to generate continuous hybridoma cell lines or hybridomas or the hybrid cell lines secreting specific antibodies called monoclonal antibodies. In short, though, these are known as MABS, M capital, ABS small letters. What Kohler and Milstein did was to fuse normal antibody producing mouse B lymphocytes with mouse myeloma B lymphocytes. Myeloma means cancerous cells. Myeloma cells means cancerous cells. So here what they have done is they have fused a normal antibody producing mouse B lymphocytes with a cancerous B lymphocyte or myeloma B lymphocyte to generate a hybridoma cell. The fusion product of the two cell lines is known as hybridoma cell. Since the hybridoma cell has been the fusion product of B lymphocytes and myeloma B lymphocytes, it enjoyed the properties of the both partners. The properties inherited from normal B lymphocyte to produce specific antibody, and the property inherited from myeloma B lymphocyte is to multiply uncontrollably and grow indefinitely in the culture. So this is the advantage of producing these hybridoma cells. What is the advantage? One thing is the cell can produce a specific antibody, and due to myeloma cell lines, they can produce this desired antibody in uncontrollable form. That is, in any good amount it can be produced, unstoppable. Therefore, the hybridoma cells are capable of growing indefinitely in culture and of secreting specific antibody molecules continuously. As we know that one type of antibody secreting normal B lymphocyte secretes a specific type of antibody molecule, all the antibodies secreted in the culture by a particular hybridoma cell line remains identical. So here we are using a B lymphocyte which can produce only one type of antibody and in good number. It produces like it keeps on multiplying as it is a cancerous cell. It keeps on multiplying, the cell will not die. Since these antibodies are resulted by a clone of cells developed from a single hybridoma in culture, they are said to be monoclonal antibodies. That is the principle behind this hybridoma technology. Now let's begin with the stepwise making a hybridoma. How do we make a hybridoma? Following main steps are involved in making a hybridoma and enable it to successfully grow in culture media to produce monoclonal antibodies. In order to produce these hybridomas, first is to be done is immunization. A mouse is first immunized with the appropriate antigen. Generally, the antigen is injected subcutaneously or into the peritoneal cavity of the animal along with an adjuvant to stimulate the immune system. The animal is injected on several occasions with such immunization. There is increased stimulation of B lymphocytes which respond to the antigen. The final dose of the antigen is given intravenously 3 days before the animal is killed. The intravenous injection ensures a high dose of antigen, and 3 days after immunization, the immune stimulated cells will be growing maximally. This simplifies the selection process later. The second step in making a hybridoma is killing of animal and separation of lymphocytes. 3 days after the final dose of the antigen has been given intravenously to immunize the animal, the latter is killed. The spleen of the killed animal is aseptically removed and gently disrupted to release the spleen fluid containing lymphocytes and red blood cells. The lymphocytes are separated from the spleen fluids by density gradient centrifugation and are washed. The next step in making a hybridoma is selection of myeloma cell lines. One of the most important point deserving attention during the course of monoclonal antibody production is that just no myeloma lymphocyte be allowed to fuse with normal lymphocyte. The myeloma cell line used must itself not be capable of synthesizing antibody, otherwise hybridoma cell lines will produce a mixture of antibodies. So here there is a clause. The myeloma cell lines which we are using, those are also B lymphocytes, but these myeloma B lymphocytes should not produce any antibodies. So that is very important. It is worth noting that in most cases of multiple myeloma, there is overproduction of a particular type of antibodies. Such myeloma cell lines that do not produce antibodies are readily available because they are instances where a particular myeloma cell line multiplies uncontrollably without antibody production. HPRT negative myeloma cell line is such an example. So for this particular thing, in order to prevent myeloma cell lines to produce antibodies, we are using a mutant type of myeloma cell line known as HPRT negative myeloma cell lines. What are these HPRT negative myeloma cell lines? The myeloma lymphocytes, before they fuse with the normal lymphocytes, are specifically selected by growing them in presence of 8 hexagonine. 8 hexagonine. Most of the cells are killed by this technique, but a few survive. The surviving myeloma lymphocytes are resistant to 8 hexagonine and they have a defect in the enzyme hypoxanthine phosphorylase transferase. That is the full form of this HPRT. What is it? Hypoxanthine phosphorylase transferase. HPRT, and hence these myeloma cell lines are known as HPRT negative myeloma cell lines. These cell lines cannot produce antibodies. The next step in making a hybridoma is fusion of separated lymphocytes with myeloma lymphocytes. Now we have myeloma lymphocytes and we also have normal lymphocytes. So we need to fuse these two lymphocytes in order to produce a hybridoma cell. After washing the lymphocytes, they are mixed with myeloma lymphocytes of HPRT negative cell line. The mixture of the two cell lines is now exposed to polyethylene glycol, a fusion promoting agent. In presence of this polyethylene glycol, these two cells fuse with each other. The latter is cytotoxic and therefore the exposure is limited only to a few minutes. The cells are then washed to make them polyethylene glycol free. The washed cells comprises a mixture of hybridoma cells, unfused lymphocytes and unfused myeloma cells. So generally the mixture consists of everything. They have hybridoma cells and normal lymphocytes separately and unfused myeloma lymphocytes. So the next step after fusing is selection of these hybridoma cells. Since the mixture of normal lymphocytes, myeloma lymphocytes contain hybridoma cells, unfused normal lymphocytes and unfused myeloma lymphocytes, the hybridoma cells have to be selected from the mixture for further requirements. This is done by using a HAT medium for growth. HAT medium represents a mixture of hypoxanthine, aminopterin and thymidine. HAT. HAT stands for hypoxanthine, aminopterin and thymidine. When the said mixture of cell is grown on the HAT medium, the unfused normal lymphocytes and the unfused myeloma lymphocytes fail to grow in the HAT medium. However, the hybridoma cells grow successfully in the HAT medium because they possess the ability of the myeloma lymphocytes to grow in vitro and normal HBRT gene inherited from the normal lymphocyte. So, due to the presence of HBRT gene and myeloma ability, these hybridoma cells will grow on the HAT medium. The next step is isolation of monoclonal antibodies producing hybridoma cell. So, after selection of the hybridoma cells, okay, we need to isolate the monoclonal antibody producing hybridoma cells. If all the hybridoma cells that has been selected using HAT medium are grown together, then a polyclonal antibody mixture would be obtained. Consequently, a single antibody producing hybridoma cells need to be isolated and grown individually. This is done by diluting a suspension of the hybridoma cells to such an extent that individual aliquots contain on an average only one cell. So such cells are transferred to separate fresh medium for growth. Each mass of hybridoma cells produced from a single parent hybridoma cell is now examined to determine whether it produces the desired monoclonal antibodies. Now let us see this diagram. Okay, in the first step, the rat is immunized or the mouse is immunized with an antigen, and after final dose is given, 3 days, post 3 days, the rat is killed and the spleen is removed. Then the spleen fluid consists of fluid and RBCs and lymphocytes. We need only lymphocytes, so it is to be centrifuged in order to produce only the lymphocytes. So the lymphocytes purification is by density gradient centrifugation, obtaining pure normal lymphocytes from the spleen of the mouse. On the other side, we have isolated and obtained myeloma B lymphocytes, and these two are to be fused together. They are fused by polyethylene glycol, a fusion promoting antigen, and after fusion, the next step is selection of the hybridomas, which are selected in a HAT medium. On HAT medium, normal lymphocytes and myeloma lymphocytes cannot grow individually. Only a hybrid or hybridoma cell can grow on the HAT medium, and due to which we can see only hybridoma cell lines growing on this HAT medium. And after that, isolation of monoclonal antibody producing hybridoma cells are to be isolated, and this is produced by diluting the sample in such a way that each aliquot will contain only one cell, so that a clone of hybridoma cells will be produced, and finally the hybridoma cells will be in pure form. Pure indicates that each hybridoma each hybridoma can produce only one type of antibody but not a group or different types of antibodies. Once the correct hybridoma has been selected and isolated, it can be stored, frozen and cultured whenever required. Since the hybridoma is a transformed cell line, it grows readily in culture, but the antibody titer is low, says generally 5 to 10 micrograms per liter. This rate of monoclonal antibody production, which is very low, seeing its requirements, has been considerably enhanced using large scale production methods. So that's all about monoclonal antibodies. Thank you.